И, ребята, сегодня заключающим докладом будет...
Okay, and the final
Или его автоматизация.
presentation today will be about ML and its automation. Delivered by Vika, she has two passions in life, data science and swimming. So therefore, everybody loving to swim, let's support her, make some noises.
Да, ребят, всем привет.
Yeah, guys. Hi, everyone.
Так, давайте с вами познакомимся поближе. Значит, меня зовут Виктория.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Victoria. I've been in data science for
Также я ментор.
quite a long time. I work for Magnet. I'm also a mentor, run consultancy, and maintain an expert blog. So subscribe if you're interested. We're going to run through several classic stages of an ML pipeline.
Вот, и сегодня мы будем пытаться какие-то этапы.
We're going to try and automate some stages. Let's start with the first one. The first one is loading and pre-processing of data. If you want to do something in ML, you need data. And data exists in different formats, in different forms and shapes. And the first thing we need to do is that we load data. For this, we use pandas. Please raise your hands who use pandas and who just loves pandas. Okay, a little bit fewer. Yeah, I agree. The library is quite popular, but it does have some drawbacks. There's the drawback that we have to wait long, so low performance, especially if it's about some large volumes of data. It's not really big data, but not too small data sizes for which you can use Spark. Also, it doesn't support certain data types, but we need to do something about that. And in principle, when you're loading data, there's a rule of thumb. If you want to work with like a couple of gigabytes of data, you need to have 5 to 10 times as much RAM, if so everything should run fast. So you shouldn't spend too much time. Everybody's talking about this, but the developers responsible for this library don't really want to break what's already working. Well, of course, they're trying to do something, but one of such attempts was to add Arrow support. Why Arrow? I talk about the problems that I mentioned at the beginning. Pandas doesn't quite well support Python objects running very slowly. Or the Py copes very well with matrix application. It was created for linear algebra operation, but it wasn't created for pandas. So these are the drawbacks. So the obvious solutions that pandas developers have arrived at that probably they should use some different backend, and they decided to use Arrow. Why? Firstly, because the POS library, please raise your hands who've heard about this. Yes. It is much, well, maybe not much, but it's better than Pandas in terms of performance. And it uses Arrow as format. So it's quite natural that they try to implement this in Pandas. But in Pandas, a few words about Arrow. Who knows about Arrow? Is anybody using it? Yes, a bit. Okay. Apache Arrow defines language-independent column
format
for flat and hierarchical data. It was created to do some effective analytics. But Pandas uses PyArrow. It's written in C++, it's well integrated with Pandas. So let's see why they use this specific PyArrow things. The first thing they do, why they started using this format, is to represent types. If you're loading, you see main4 object, you can't understand what format this column is because it doesn't determine certain formats. So the first thing that they started to work with the option format string, for instance, since 2020, they tried to provide Arrow support, but now they're in the version of 1.5. So support for all types of data with the help of Arrow has been introduced.
мы теперь
So
можем
visually,
сделать
nothing has changed for the user, but we can now set the type in the D-type parameter.
помимо того, что мы можем уже определять типы, мы также можем использовать
In addition to being able to recognize types, we can also use the PyArrow engine. Let me start with an example. Let's take some data frame, some small one, and try to load it.
Видим, что у нас заняло
Read CSV, and we see that it took us about 2 minutes and 11 gigabytes of memory at the very end. That's quite long and quite a lot of memory. If we start using the PyArrow engine, we see that the time has gone down by the factor of 2, actually halved, and
внедрена
a
возможность
lot less RAM has been used.
и теперь у
And
нас
Pandas 2.0,
есть
and
возможность
it's implemented in the backend.
такие как
So the user can now store such data as Pandas and Pi
этот
in
параметр он
the
задается
arrow
также с помощью
format.
data backend. Мы
This parameter is also set using dtype back as PyArrow, dtype backend as PyArrow. We see the optimization, the time has improved, and the memory usage has also improved. So we see a clear acceleration. That's very good. But it's important to notice here that a lot of people are using read CSV, and in the past, when Arrow was not in existence, we could set formats using date.
Есть формат, который
Paste.
в совокупности
No such parameter is present.
мы задаем колонки, где у нас как бы дата, и формат, который
So we just
которым оно
said
представлено.
the
Сейчас это не
following
особо
way.
как-то помогает.
It doesn't help us
Поэтому
a
можно
lot
использовать,
now.
можно нет.
So you can either use it or not use it.
Параметр уже устарел.
You just need to know that this parameter
Ну и такие
is
как бы
obsolete now.
плюсы перечислим того, что мы внедрили, да, PR.
This is a list
То есть мы
of
теперь,
the
поддерживаем
advantages
типы данных
that
посредством
PyArrow
поддержка
implementation or
значений,
injection
конечно,
has
улучшение производительности
given.
именно считывания и записывания данных. Почему только этих функций? Потому что
So
PR
a more comprehensive list of data types compared to NumPy, support for the missing data,
то есть еще не для
not
всех функций Pandas,
available for all
поэтому
data
только
types,
это
improvement of performance in the I/O reader, and simplification of interaction with other data frame libraries. And the next thing that appeared is Pandas
но уже
compared
как
to
бы
1.5.
2.0 активно используется.
So it actually appeared in 1.5, but in Pandas 2.0, it is used more actively. What's copy and write? Do you know? Please raise your hands. No, you don't. Well, it's copy at the moment of writing. For instance, what does it mean? If you work with data, with copies, data copies, they will be referring to one memory cell. So there won't be data duplication if you're not changing the data. So starting with release 2.0, this function is supported. How does Pandas work now? And those who start using it get surprised sometimes that this happens. So you take a data frame, based on it, we create some other ones, and we change it, and we see that the initial source data frame has also changed. For instance, we have set the value of 100, and the changes happen in both. So you're working with data frame 2, but the change also happened in data frame 1. Some people believe that it doesn't make sense. Many people forget about this, and this leads to errors. So that was in the past. Now, if we've said copy and write, this is not happening. We say true, and that's it. Everything makes sense. So we created data frame. Based on it, we'll create another one, and the second one will now believe as a copy. So we've changed it, but the initial data frame hasn't changed. The original data frame has changed. So until we've changed the second one, the system will refer to the same memory cell, but once we've changed it, the reference would be to them separately. Apart from making more sense, it improves performance and improves memory usage.
Также это как бы правдиво и
Also-
наоборот. То есть если мы
So,
меняем первый
this
то
works the other way around.
второй остается
If
прежним.
we
То есть они независимо от
change the
друг
first
друга
data frame, the
живут
second
своей
one
жизнью.
is the
Это очень
same. So
удобно.
they
Также
kind of
хотела
live
сказать пару
independent
слов
lives,
о
and is
параметрах
very
in-play.
convenient.
То есть
Also,
мы
I'd
знаем,
like to
что у
say a
универсальных
few words
есть,
about the
где
in-play
там
parameters.
есть
We know
документация,
that
это нужно
it's
лезть
not
в
present
документацию
in
смотреть,
all
для
functions
запуска
in place.
его нет.
You
Вот
have
тоже
to look
есть
up
такая некоторая
documentation,
путаница, и
and there's a
подняли
kind of
прям
confusion about that.
такой холивар в GitHub.
So there was a whole holy war
вообще этот
that started in GitHub, whether this parameter should go, perhaps, or the other way around. So some new parameter should be used that should be the same for everyone. But Pandas developers
изменения того, что уже есть, дабы как бы не усугубить ситуацию.
are adverse to unnecessary changes. And I think this logic is true for all, is right for most
Ну и,
programs.
конечно, copyright
Because it does work.
ожидается уже
If
будет как бы по
it's not
умолчанию
broken, I don't fix it. So copyright will be introduced in version 3.0 by default.
Это у нас конструирование и отбор признаков.
The next stage,
Это, наверное,
design,
такой
attribute design and selection.
этап, который может это хорошо
Perhaps
повлиять
this
на
is
внешнюю
the
репутацию
stage
вашей
that
модели.
produces the biggest
И я
impact
хочу
on your
поговорить
end model.
как фичи
The result
Giants,
model.
они знакомы.
I would like to talk about library
Библиотеку.
called Feature Engine. Anybody know this library? Not all, but yes, there's an open source library. Why would I like to mention it? Because it includes quite a lot of methods for every stage. It does some pre-processing, many ways of pre-processing, also attribute re-enumeration to find the best data set.
Здесь приведен график вообще всех
This actually is a chart of all possible
методов, которые представлены.
methods
Почему я хочу показать?
presented there. Why did I want to show it to you? Is that you can see that quite a lot of methods are present there. So based on some data characteristics and performance model, you can make the most relevant choice for you. This diversity allows using this library is applied to different areas of application, different data types. I am now using this method. It has quite a good track record. Let's just try applying it. Let's take some data set that has a lot of attributes. In this particular example, the number is about 2,000. And let's try and select the best attributes based on this method. It's all done in a very simple way, just through a couple of code lines, just like data scientists are used to do. This engine is also quite useful for data scientists because it still has this feed transform syntax, nothing new. We just take, apply, transform, and get the results. So as a result, it took us about 7 minutes to select about a fourth of the data. Can you imagine? You throw away or reduce the number of data 4 times.
Свои, 3/4 своих данных куда-то дели. Поэтому я обычно, конечно, рекомендую, чтобы использовать не только
usually recommend that you use not only just one method that has good track record, but a whole pipeline of methods.
Чтобы это было какой-то
Try the first one and the second one, so that we should have the process
и потом
that would be multi-staged,
тех признаков, которые
so that we could take
по многим параметрам уже вышли как наилучшие, скажем.
Selection of attributes, the combined selection of attributes recommended by different methods. The next phase, model implementations. The good old pickle, I think everyone knows about that. If you could raise your hands, who knows that? Yes, more people I see, that's good. So how do they use pickle in data science? It is used to save models, but actually can use for saving other things. Dictionaries, lists, other important things. But the problem we're facing is like this. Data science is a continuous process. We keep updating our models from iteration to iteration. So
такая ситуация, что помимо модели
in our
нам нужно
case,
было обновлять еще кучу параметров,
the
которые
situation was
появлялись,
in
просто
that
изменялись,
apart from
как-то
models, we had to
пересчитывались. Эти
update a lot of
параметры были
parameters.
даже не на нашей
These
стороне,
parameters,
некоторые
some of
просто
them
поступали
were
от
not
наших
even on our
экспертов,
side.
которые
We were
пользуются
getting them
нашими
from our
моделями.
business
И нам
experts
постоянно
using our
приходилось
models,
не просто там
and we
экспортировать
had
модельки
not
на
just to export
Word,
our
да, еще
models
заходить туда ручками,
to
что-то
the
редактировать, какие-то
production,
параметры
but
добавлять.
we had to
Вот. И в какой-то момент мы
enter them manually,
подумали,
correct
надо бы
something
нам
manual there.
сохранять
And at some point
модели
in time,
и все те параметры,
we
которые как
said
принципе
we thought that
являются руками,
it would make
как-то
sense
более
to
интересно. И мы
save
это сделали с помощью
the
Pickle, то есть мы
models
передавали свою там,
in a
базовую модель, и
more
мы также
useful way.
передавали
And so we
условно
added
там
good old Pickle.
третьи параметры. Ну, самый простой
So we
пример это мог
passed
быть какой-нибудь
some
словарь
manual
признаков.
parameters there. Well,
Там,
the
не знаю,
easiest
параметры,
example would
если
be an
вы там,
attribute dictionary
не
or
знаю,
parameters.
заменяете какие-то пустоты
If you replace some
с
blanks
конкретным значением для
with
вашей
some
итерации,
specific
там,
value for your
конкретного признака,
iteration,
например.
for a
Ну,
specific
вообще всё что угодно, какие-то, может
attribute,
быть,
for instance, or
бизнес-метрики,
anything.
которые вам
It
нужно
could be
получить
some
для
business
вашей
metrics
итерации или
that you
каких-то
need to
расчетов.
use in this
Вот.
iteration.
Но сейчас уже есть более эффективные подходы вообще
But now,
управления циклом машин.
more effective machine learning lifecycle management
Ну, слышали, я знаю, многие,
approaches
да,
have appeared.
поделитесь. Отлично.
MLflow, for instance. Has people heard about that? Raise your hands.
Используют не
Great.
прям многие, но постепенно она входит в такую, ну, достаточно
Well,
популярная.
this
Тоже
approach
и когда мы уже
is
начали её
coming
устанавливать,
into
начали как бы пользоваться, мы
is
прям,
becoming common.
честно,
And when we
как у
started
вас,
using
может
it,
быть, было
well,
такое
frankly,
у нас,
we had a feeling it's cool.
при
So
использовании
we
библиотеки. То есть у
all
нас
sorts of
просто
emotions
все
about this
вопросы,
library.
связанные
It just seems to
с
solve
циклом ML-модели,
any questions about the model life cycle, implementation. So if you have some interface with everything presented, you keep the history, you keep the models, and apart from the models being kept, you can save anything as an artifact. And so you can also look at metrics, compare them between iterations, between the models that you compute all in one place. And also when you want to pass something to the production, you just take everything from one place in a single package, set it there. It requires the minimum of manual labor, reducing human error. Everything is automated. And apart from the emotions, the positive emotions that we had, there was also some resistance because we weren't used to working this way. But then the net result was it's really cool. Why hadn't I known about this before? So the last stage that we'll consider is about presenting the result. We're used to see the results as graphs or reports in some professional BI system, but our task was quite light. So for our experts, sometimes we present data just in Excel charts, in Excel spreadsheets, because they don't like anything apart from Excel. But we said, let's do something in Python so that everything should be elegant and convenient, but the way it is convenient for us, comfortable for us, rather than you. So we took a look at different tools and thought that we can try and use Streamlit. And this is an example of code. It's an abstract task. So this code implements this visualization. It was drawn here. So the task was like this. The problem was like this. So we run a lot of experiments and some computations, and our business experts want to see some analytics on each hypothesis. Imagine we have a tab, better say a lot of tabs, and for each of them we have several hypotheses. So you click on the tab and you get the analytics regarding different hypotheses. So you have lots of such tabs, and each tab is populated differently. In the beginning, we were doing this, and we liked it all very much, and experts liked it as well. But when it came to hypothesis 10, we noticed that it doesn't work very fast. So each update was bringing in a delay. So we started thinking, what's wrong that we're doing? Maybe we need to automate something. Maybe we should optimize something. Maybe we're loading in the wrong way. It's clear that for every hypothesis, the specific data was loaded
Но по факту мы подумали, как бы нам сделать
So
так,
as a
чтобы
result,
каждая
we
гипотеза как бы обновлялась тогда,
started
когда ты
thinking how to make it so
не
that
все
each
сразу,
hypothesis would only
а по отдельности.
update
Ну,
when you're
выяснилось, что
sitting there,
с
not
вами Split это сделать нельзя,
all of them together,
и как бы только все и
but
разом может
separately. Well,
выполняться.
then it turned
И
out
это, конечно,
that
немножко нас
Streamlit
огорчило. Я думаю, конечно, что
only
это
works
еще
on the
изменится,
principle of all the
работает,
hypotheses
но
being
пока
updated
такая
at the
ситуация.
same
Вот,
time.
ну, мы,
So I'm also
конечно,
hoping that it's
сделали
changed, but so
выводы
far the
и
decision with
начали
this, we
думать,
made our
какую еще вот библиотечку
conclusions
чтобы решать
and
свою
started to think about what other library could be used to get the problem solved.
Мы с
So,
вами проговорили про Pandas.
conclusions.
Классно, да, он улучшился,
We have
стал
talked
более
about Pandas.
понятным. Если использовать
It's
все
become
эти
better,
обороты,
it's
в
become
принципе, версию 2.0,
more
сейчас
understandable,
обновлял,
and if you use all. By the way, has anybody updated Pandas to 2.0? How do you like?
Вот, да, с переменным успехом. Дело в том,
Yeah.
что библиотека так немного
Not uniform.
Вот, и
The
много
point is
обновлений
that the
других
library has a lot of
большой проект,
dependencies,
это может вот
a lot of other
доставить неудобства и много ошибок.
updates happen, and if you have a large project,
Вот,
that
да,
can bring
слетает
in
много. Вот,
inconveniences.
я об этом и хотела сказать,
Yes,
поэтому
lots of things stop
если
working.
вам
Yes,
прям,
that's exactly what I wanted
конечно,
to mention.
классно, если
So, of course, it's cool if you speed up. For instance, I tested for the model to collect
в принципе, у нас это не
to the source
так
code,
прям
but
критично,
and I had
поэтому мы
a
проверки
threefold
не обновляли. Поэтому
acceleration.
нужно взвешивать, что для вас
But we decided not to do that for the entire project.
копии проекта, скажем так,
So
ветки.
you
Вот,
can
будьте аккуратны.
judge yourself what's better for you. Try and
Также,
copy a
значит,
project.
достаточно
So you have to be
нестабильно,
careful here.
по-прежнему исправляются какие-то ошибки.
Also, it's not yet stable
Поэтому, в
enough.
принципе, как и всегда,
They're still
дорабатывать.
fixing
Просто
some
нужно
errors,
внимательнее смотреть то, что вы делаете.
just
Итак, Feature
like
Engine
they
стоит
always do.
использовать для
So Feature Engine, it's worthwhile using to automate all the processes of pre-processing and attribute collection, because it's a very, usable library. And if there's a site, well, there's a place where you have collected and saved all the principles and the attributes that are used for the task. This sounds similar. And MLflow simplifies management and deployment of models. Streamlit, I recommend it for some simple presentations, maybe to show something, but not for something very sophisticated, especially if you are using complex, sophisticated comparative analytics.
Ну и ваши вопросы.
And now to your questions.
Если интересно, приходите.
This is my QR code. If you have any interest, you're welcome to my blog. Thank you.
Вопрос, вот.
Questions?
Да, Вик, привет.
Yes, Vika, hi.
Вопросов?
I have several questions.
Я бы хотел обсудить Pyro.
Firstly, I would like to describe Pyro.
Ты как-то сформулировать, какие у
Can you, Pyro, can you list its drawbacks and why it's not in the library by default? You showed some examples how to convert types among themselves, but if it's so cool and great, why, when you download through Ritzy, it's not being used?
Кто не юзает, если сейчас...
Who doesn't use it? When you download in Pandas, PyArrow, so automatically columns are not converted into PyArrow. So it's so cool and great. Why isn't it done? Isn't it automated by default?
Это не ко мне прям вопрос, почему это...
I guess it's not a question to myself, but what's your opinion? Does it have some drawbacks? For instance, I'm interested what makes this PyArrow string different at the configuration level. Is it just a normal string, or is it binarized, or does it have any specificity? Can you use line-based methods to it? No. By the way, regarding line-based methods, they all work. There was some holy war about that. As to some specific features, I can't answer. But I think for the line-based method, they used arrow for line-based because object. Not everybody was happy with object because everything categorical was converted into an arrow. And when you use PyArrow, it defines it not only the string, but categories. So it's about tags. It's just I don't quite understand the philosophy. Why is it not used by default? Okay. And another question, if I may. What methods of automatic data cleansing would you recommend in case you have to deal with some complicated, sophisticated columns? For instance, I have a column where users define their age age the way they prefer. 24 years, 55, just 55 years old, some other way. Can you automate it somehow? Not to write some pre-processing functions, but just take a look at all the unique situations or cases. Are there any automation tools for that? I don't know. I myself write such functions myself. That's very boring. Yes, I agree. But it's just, dirty data. It's just the data, raw data. And we don't have anything better. And we try to automate it, we'll miss something. So if I understand it correctly, that maybe the better choice there, use a close answer form. Yes, to provide some selection or run some errors to reduce the variation. Okay, thank you.
Да.
Let's try and do it here.
На секундочку добавлю.
Just a second, let me add.
Используется для многих
Pandas
не только для
uses
ML,
for many things, not only for ML.
разработчики там
So it's more likely, as you have said, that the developers are very conservative and they left it the way it was. Well, they're just like this by nature. Look, you have listed all the different cool tools. At which point a professional, a beginner professional, should learn that. Is it when they're interested in improving the performance, or is it just a basic tool that even a junior should know? I talk about everything. Well, I think for the MLflow, MLflow maybe when you're working with production, the rest is basic. The rest are basic.
Вика, спасибо.
1, 2, 3. Vika, thank you.
Следующий вопрос.
I have the following question. I have a big background in SQL, and Pandas has started to look like it very much. Just like you said, copy and change, for instance. It's about the transaction. Copy and write, you mean? Yes, copy and write.
Можешь назвать какие-нибудь три
Can you name some
пандаса,
3 things
которые я прям
in
возьму
Pandas
и
that I will
на своем любимом
just take and won't be able to reproduce on SQL?
Сложные вопросы задаешь, человек
You're asking questions that are too difficult. The
Это же анализ.
person is writing ML. But it's data analysis. Yes, it's okay.
Такой спорный вопрос всегда.
It's just a controversial question. There are always proponents of one thing and another thing. I know people who are so proficient in SQL that don't know anybody else. I'm just trying to imagine myself in your place. You just use what you use.
Автоматизации.
Second question. Do you use any tools to automate ML or just Airflow that runs models? Yes, Airflow. Nothing like that.
Просто такой
okay, got that.
в какой-то мере продакшн, поэтому
Basically, it's kind of manual production. There's no need. Thank you. The mic here. These libraries that you're referring to, can they compute mathematical functions such as sine, cosine, logarithm? Do they operate with multidimensional arrays? Can they use several GPUs in parallel? Yes, of course. And Pi, it wasn't listed here specifically, but as I said, in Pandas and Pi is full matrix operation. If you have sine, cosine, there's a module in the Pi. It's all there. It's all there in Python. Several GPUs in parallel, can it use?
ну, в смысле, можем ли
Depending, can we parallelize? Yes, of course we can. In NVIDIA and AMD.
скажу, но думаю, что да.
I won't be able to give you specific answers, but the answer is yes. In Python, you can certainly do that.
Не зависит от библиотек.
It does depend on libraries. What does the library have to do with it? It's about the computation implementation.
Ну, Python он не может
Well,
использовать.
Python can't do that, can't use.
только вслух. Давайте, пожалуйста, вот сюда микрофончик.
Так,
Some mic here. Can you hear me? Yes.
Так, там закончили, да, уже?
Are you finished? Victoria,
Спасибо за доклад.
thank you very much for your presentation. Thanks to you, I've learned that the release of Panda 2.0 has happened. So my question is, have you checked the classic random forest to use without anything, just like that? And with this method,
Результаты заметны там?
the results, are they noticeable in terms of the model quality? Yes, they're quite noticeable. we had general algorithms implemented with the metrics of our own. This method took quite a lot of time to run, and we tried this method and others from this library. Firstly, we had a gain in time, and secondly, we also compared the results of models. We also had considerable improvements, so that's why I mentioned this library. Can you tell me what's under the hood there, or should I just do a separate read? Well, maybe some very well-known web. Thank you very much. Over there. Thank you for the presentation. I have a brief technical question. MLflow as a panacea. Everything is good, interactive experiments. And how do you go past multi-tenancy with many users, a large team? So haven't you got into problem when... What do you mean? One experiment? Well, for instance, we're tracking an experiment. I'm a data scientist, you're a data scientist. We run different jobs, so we have different experiments, so we run different tasks. But the MLflow is just one. I, by mistake, deleted my experiments. You're upset.
I looked at your experiment, you're sad.
Do you separate
split
users?
somehow? Because by default,
MLflow can't do that.
No, we do not separate users, we separate experiments. And all of the computation, even if you use one experiment, still they're different. It's not that you
Misclick и все.
delete by experiment, but only by ID. Misclick and bye-bye. But misclick and bye-bye. It breaks. You can delete the thing that's not your... I do not delete with an interface, I delete with Python that's more convenient and less dangerous. The hand over there. I don't know. We never had cases like this, honestly.
Вот там человек.
We have quite a big team. I mean,
Здравствуйте, спасибо за доклад. Я, правда,
thank you for the presentation. I'm not a data scientist per se. I used to love neural networks and I met pandas a few times. But you said about copy and write. That will be a default thing. When I saw in your example, there was like an empty slide, and that's a shallow copy. And there's nothing surprising that it's just the same area in the memory. Then it will be changed, and something may break. Will that be a default thing? What do you think about it? I don't understand why it may break. I mean, we were changing two different frames, now we're not doing that. Before that, we're copying a link, now no. You need to get used to this thing.
И разработчики даже рекомендовали там включать и вот работать в таком же стиле, а не как привычно.
Просто раньше deep copy надо было вызывать, сейчас не надо.
Before that, we had a deep copy which we needed to call.
Я думаю, что все будет, просто привыкнуть нужно.
Спасибо.
Just need to get used to this.
Можно вот сюда здесь?
Thank you for the question.
Прям вернемся. У нас время есть.
Let's stand over here. We have the time for every one of you.
Добрый день. Спасибо за доклад.
Thanks you for the presentation.
Первый вопрос у меня такой же, как у
Question one.
Мне казалось то, что
I felt that
уровня middle и выше
Pythonists, like middle and higher, understand the difference between
мутабельными и немутабельными.
mutable and immutable types, and understand that in any case, when you have doubt, it's better to make a deep copy. I mean, when I saw this,
Да, swallow copy, нет,
Shallow.
shallow copy,
я удивился. Но,
I was
ладно.
surprised.
Я как, ну, чел сказал то, что он раньше был
The dude said that previously
ML-щиком, в своем
he used to do ML.
вот сейчас практикующий вирусный аналитик, и
I am now practicing virus analytics, and I got scared from the use of pickle. I saw the pickle dumper.
Loader впоследствии будет.
Loader.
Я молился на то, что уж
I was
лучше
praying
хотя
that
бы вы пользуетесь это все во внутрянке, а когда услышал то, что
it's
вы
better use it
передаете
internally,
в таком
but you
формате
transfer
куда-то заказчикам и
this thing to a
возвращаете
client in that
себе, я
format.
вообще это прям
I
просто
got
напомнил,
scared.
что Pickle имеет
Let me just remind you that Pickle has
он может
vulnerabilities
исполнять
with
произвольный код.
deserialization.
То
It
есть,
can
по
execute
факту,
like arbitrary
вы
code,
можете,
random code.
приняв небезопасные данные, себя это скомпрометировать.
You can actually compromise yourself by accepting data. No, we only do it internally.
How
about the clients?
Я имею в виду, заказчики это внутренние, то есть мы не работаем с кем-то.
It's internally.
Ну, это проект
We're
внутренний.
not working with somebody out
всё,
there. It's an
хорошо.
internal project. That's it. Okay, thank you.
Вопрос касаемо ML Flow.
Question related
Он,
to ML
получается,
Flow.
оркестрирует виртуальные машины?
It orchestrates virtual machines.
Вопрос
ML
касаемо
Flow.
ML Flow. Я просто модельки сам вручную сортирую по папкам и запускаю.
I
Мне
normally
интересно
sort
в плане того,
models
можно
manually and
ли
launch
его
them. Can I
удобно ли его
use?
использовать одному
Is it
человеку или
convenient to
все-таки
use it by one
команде?
person, or
Одному
it's
также
better to
это
use it in
просто вы
team?
теперь не в папочке
It's easier to
храните.
use it by one
Ну, условно,
person. It's
это
not
тоже
in a
папочки,
folder.
если там где-то на
I mean,
сервере,
it's
там
in
на
the folder.
виртуальной
It's
машине, но
somewhere
это
on your
уже
server
вы
or
также видите
virtual
в
machine,
интерфейсе,
but
этим удобно,
you also
ну,
see
как
that
бы
in the
наглядно,
interface,
видно, удобно управлять.
it's easier to
А
control.
чем
It's
это
self-evident.
отличается от ручного
How is that
запуска и
different
использования,
from
например,
launching it
OneDB?
manually and
Ну,
using 1DB?
просто потому, что у вас все
Just
лежит в
because
одном месте, и помимо
it's in the
просто
same
одних моделей,
place.
которые вы
And
можете
in
в папочку
addition to
себе положить,
models
вы
that you
можете
can
положить
put in
туда
a
любой
folder,
артефакт.
you can also put there any
То же
artifacts.
самая папка, и удобно
It's the same
просто
folder,
использовать,
and
и
it's
всё.
convenient
То
to
есть,
use, that's
если,
it.
допустим, мы тоже до
If,
этого
for
условно
example,
хранили
I mean,
модели
before that
папками,
we
если у
were
вас много
kind of
итераций,
storing models in the folder, but if you have many
много, там, не знаю,
iterations,
каких-то
if you
обновлений,
have
которые вы вносите,
some
вы
updates
представляете, у
that
вас
you
будет
make,
там куча папок,
imagine
потом вы
this, you have a ton of
запутаетесь, где что,
folders,
а
and
здесь
you
у вас
will
вы
not be
заходите,
able
во
to
всей
understand what's
историчности, у
where.
вас всё
You have all of the history
детально всё
here,
расписано.
it's all in
Git,
detail.
ну, GitLF.
How about Git?
и
Нет,
OneDB.
это нормально. Давай,
Для
ребята,
моделей,
микрофончик.
Простите, что так долго.
Sorry for taking so long.
Кстати, если у вас, типа, вас перебиваю, возможно, если останется время, еще можно будет вопросы
Maybe at
задать.
the time we'll be able to ask more questions, by the way.
Викторию за интересный доклад.
Victoria, thank you for the presentation. Alexander from VK.
Поэтому, возможно, мой
I'm not a
вопрос
data
покажется
scientist,
очевидным.
but
Что при
probably my
включенном
question is
copy on
kind of a
write
Captain
происходит
Hyde state.
с
What
памятью?
happens
Допустим, мы
to
по
memory if
индексам
we
поменяли
enable
какие-то
copy and
значения.
write? I mean, we change
Видно,
some
что
values
на
according to
память
indexes.
выделилась. А те
New memory is
ячейки,
allocated for
которые
that. For those
имеют старые
cells
значения, продолжают
that have
оставаться в
old
нашем
values
временном.
and
От них
remain
выделяется
in our
новая
data
память.
frame.
Или же они
Do we have new
продолжают
memory allocated to
ссылаться на
them,
область
or
старой
they
памяти?
actually
Выделяется.
link to the... No, there's new memory allocated.
Если тогда следующий вопрос,
Okay.
позвольте. Есть ли какие-то направления в сторону оптимизации этого момента, потому что зачем
Is there
выделять
any
нам
way to
новую память
optimize that?
под
I mean, why would we allocate new
те
memory
значения,
to
которые у нас уже
the values that
Нельзя ли
we already have recorded in memory?
Я просто проверяла, память
Talk to
используется
developers.
больше гораздо, когда ты делаешь
Yes. When you use copy on write, that's twice as much memory use. So we need to take that into account. I see.
копию. Нет, этого не было, не видела.
Спасибо.
Спасибо за доклад. У меня такой
Thank you for the
вопрос по
presentation.
поводу визуализации моделей.
Так,
A question about model
результата.
visualization.
Да, вот я здесь.
I'm here.
А пробовали ли вы Plotly и в чем преимущество
Have you
того
tried
фреймворка,
Plotly,
который вы
and
используете
what's
перед
the
Plotly
advantage
и
of
перед
your
Dash'ом, например?
framework
как раз таки
as opposed to
после того, как
Plotly
нас
and
тренер
Dash?
разочаровал, мы решили Plotly Bash
Yeah.
использовать. И
We are
пока
using
нам
Plotly.
нравится.
We
Ну, в
love it
смысле, мы
so
только
far.
начали делать, поэтому прям преимущество.
We only
не
began
назову,
using
по крайней
it,
мере,
but
такого,
I'm not
что
saying it's
случилось с
better,
Streamlit,
but
пока нет. То есть он быстрее.
То есть
it's
Plotly
better. It's better.
быстрее того
Plotly is
фреймворка,
better than the
который
framework that you were using
Да, я
before,
поэтому и сказала,
right?
что Streamlit, он ну, как бы классный, красивый,
Streamlit
но
is
для чего-то
cool, it's
простого.
pretty, but it's for something simple.
Спасибо.
Так, вот тут вот там ручка поднята.
Спасибо большое за доклад. Меня зовут Илья. У меня два вопроса. В общем, первый вопрос про отбор факторов. Там был такой красивый слайд.
First question about factor selection.
26% число
You
факторов.
said by that you reduced the number of factors by 26%. Yeah, but number of features, number of features. But sometimes you select the features and the quality falls, evidently. This framework, when you filter out features, can I control it, this degradation of quality? Or it just says,
Ну,
I
конечно,
filtered it
это на
out, congrats.
На вашей ответственности. То есть он вам предоставляет
Well, that's up
какой-то
to you.
результат, и
It
вы
gives
уже
you some kind of
сравниваете,
result. And you
получилось
compare
лучше или хуже.
it,
То есть никто
whether
не
it's
обещает,
better or
что
worse.
если вы выберете с
Nobody
помощью
promises
этого
you that
метода,
if you
всё будет
select
только
something
лучше.
with this
Нужно
method,
тестировать
everything will
это
be
всё
only better. You need to test it, as
И
always.
еще
As
тогда
always.
вот товарищ говорил про OneDB. OneDB это
1DB.
библиотечка есть тоже про ML Flow. Это вот типа примерно все про одно и то же.
It's about ML Flow. It's about pretty much the same. This ClearML, A1 and 2S. There are three different libraries. Why ML Flow? There are three different ones.
Может, да, мы
Maybe.
просто выбрали эту, и она, в
Просто
принципе,
типа
на
не,
слуху.
ну, не перебирали, короче. Просто
Нет.
типа сразу становились. Если
Да.
что, я тоже не пробовал, я только MLflow пробовал. Вот поэтому мне было интересно просто, если тоже пробовали.
Отлично, да. Не, ну просто MLflow и хорошая документация,
нет,
в принципе,
я в курсе, да.
удобно.
Да, спасибо, хорошо.
И вам.
Так, ребята, у кого еще вопросики остались?
Guys, anybody has questions?
Спасибо за доклад. А выбрасываете данные для того, чтобы просто быстрее считалось?
Еще раз повторите. Не слышно.
Выбрасываете данные для того,
You
чтобы
dump
быстрее
data so that you would compute better.
Признаки выбираем?
Ну да.
Ну, конечно.
When we
это
collect features,
повторяет,
yes.
То ли обучить
Of course,
модель,
if
там,
you
на
cut
1000 признаков,
features...
то ли на 200 условно.
Сильно?
Конечно, конечно, сильно. Это по времени очень...
Is it
оптимизируется.
acceleration? Yes, it's a very strong
Да.
acceleration.
Насколько я помню, еще
As far as I remember, feature pruning for reasoning improves the quality of models somehow when there are too many correlating features, right?
Просто не поняла.
Feature pruning
Прунинг улучшает иногда качество или нет?
sometimes improve the quality when you have too many features in a model, which are only noise. By all means, yeah, that's pretty much pruning, yeah.
То есть есть же признаки,
When we
которые
remove what
вообще
you don't need.
информацию не несут
There are
для
features
модели,
that deliver
а вы на
no
них
info
обучаете,
whatsoever, and you
выбираете, и у
just
вас
use
может
them
даже
to train your
результат
model.
ну, не измениться, но явно скорость улучшится как минимум.
Precision will not
Прям
change,
хорошо
but the speed
улучшается
will only
и
get
точность.
better. Sometimes also the
ребят, у кого
the
еще
metrics may
вопросики
get
есть?
much the
Комментируйте.
accuracy gets so much better.
Вот. Так можно.
У меня вопрос в связи с тем...
I have a
предыдущим
question
вопросом.
regarding a previous question.
Есть несколько вариантов понизить размерность. Вот, допустим,
There are
отобрать
several
признаки
ways
таким образом
to
или
prune
использовать методы
features.
понижения размерности.
So dimensionality reduction, cool. What's better, dimensionality reduction methods or this method? I think this method is better that I suggested. Why don't we use PCA for 200 features? Well, the interpretability of the model goes down. You've eaten something and you don't know what the hell that is. But if you want to understand the features as they were, or you need to explain why you selected this particular set, and explain that, yeah, we have you need to reduce
И
dimensionality.
вы снижаете, и вам нужно потом объяснить, почему именно эти выбрали признаки, и даже
I need to explain why
как они
you
влияют на
selected those and find some logic within them, how they impact accuracy, why this particular feature works like that and like that. You can always tell, well, MAPI is better. You need to explain the logic. Or PCA, for example, there is inverse transform, and
То есть обучить на ПЦА.
maybe I could play with that, for example, trade and PC. Of course you
Окей,
can
меня
play
просто
with that. Why not?
интересовало, как ты
I was
считаешь,
just
что
curious.
Да, окей.
What's in your opinion is better?
Окей,
Sure,
тогда
thanks.
от меня вопрос. Есть какой-то случай, какой-то эксперимент, где ты прям что-то
Any case, an
интересное нашла,
experiment where
гордишься, какой-то там большой
You found something like really, really special, maybe great accuracy or something like that. Something
Относительно
special.
этих библиотек или вообще?
Тут про
According
библиотеки
to the
не просто
libraries
кейс
or-
какой-то, ну,
No,
то
just
есть
a
не
case.
обязательно с библиотекой, а то, что какой-то эксперимент круто
Not
получился.
necessarily library, but some experiment.
Просто очень много
I need to
проектов
think.
разных было, и каких-то так конкретно, прям даже не знаю, могу
Too
ли
many
я просто
projects.
рассказывать про...
I don't know whether I can
Скажи,
be
был такой
talking
случай,
about
прям-
these in more detail.
Нет, прям чтоб, нет, но какие-то классные точности, естественно, были.
Окей, то есть...
There were
результатов
some things, but I don't think I just can tell you about that. Yeah.
Супер.
Работаем же еще.
Так, ребят, сейчас самый сложный вопрос. Какой
Guys,
тебе
the
из них больше
hardest
всего
part.
понравился?
Which question do you like the
Парень был
most?
очень активный.
This guy was very active.
Так, приз ты получишь, и ты тоже получишь.
You are getting the prize, and you're getting the prize too. Thank you for the presentation.
Побольше!
Another round of applause.
Да, спасибо. Что могу
Ребят,
говорить?
напоминаю, что главный организатор конференции Positive Technologies,
Positive Technologies, the major host of our conference, expert in
давайте
cybersecurity.
немножко поблагодарим их, что они
Let's
сделали
thank
у нас
them
такое
for
классное
what they have done for
мероприятие.
us.
Это был последний доклад на сегодня.
That was the latest
У нас еще
presentation
есть
for today,
некоторые
but
активности.
we have more
После
activities.
Вот как вы видите на карте, мы вот находимся сейчас вот здесь.
So
А
as you
все,
see,
кто
we're here
регистрировался
on the
на
map,
мероприятие
and
Moscow
all of you who
Python,
registered to the
получили
event,
наклеечки.
Moscow Python,
Кто успел зарегистрироваться, как уже меня
got your
просили уточнить.
stickers.
Вот с ними после 6 можно будет двигаться в ресторан «Времена
You will
года».
be able to
Там
use
будет
these
after-party, где
for
вы
the
можете
seasons.
пообщаться со спикерами, задать интересные
There will
вопросы.
be the after
не
party
только
to
со
talk to
спикерами, а
speakers,
между собой,
ask
поделиться
curious
мнениями,
questions.
экспертизой. И через некоторое время мы можем прямо
Share your
здесь
expertise,
остаться, собраться и
And in a
организованно
while,
пойти.
you can just stay
Может, у
here.
вас еще какие-то планы есть, поэтому можно подумать.
Maybe you'll have more plans.
Я не
You may think
закончил.
about it.
Помните, вот было на самом начале QR-код на чате, где можно было пообщаться?
We had
Вот
this
туда
chat QR
придет
code
интересный
previously.
опрос. Опрос не особо...
There will
не
be
знаю,
some
кто-
curious
не все
query there.
проходят. Но за то, что вы полностью пройдете опрос, вы получите бесплатный
But for
доступ
fully
на запись
passing
Halo 2022 года.
the poll, you will
Те, кто
be
пройдут, им
getting the
первым
prize
придет
too.
приглашение на
And
следующий
you'll get an
Positive
invitation to
Hacking
the
Days.
next year
Поэтому
Positive
не
Hacking Days, the
стесняемся,
first.
проходим опрос, ребята.
So please,
Halo 22 года, 23 еще в процессе, мы не
Halo
закончили.
2022, 23 is still
Ну,
on.
я понимаю твой вопрос, самому тоже интересно. Спасибо вам большое. Я очень рад, что все собрались. Супер классные вопросы. Вы лучшие, публика. Обязательно.
Great
приходите
questions.
еще.
You are the best audience.
Я не знаю,
Please
кто-нибудь
do come
хочет мне
again.
вопросы задать или нет.
Anybody wants to ask a question to me, by the way? I want to ask you a question.
Что у нас есть подарки для всех спикеров, правильно? Подарки за
We
лучшие
have actually gifts for
вопросы.
all of the
Ну и
speakers.
также наш прекрасный ведущий Сергей, тебе тоже
Спасибо
подарок.
большое.
Okay.
У нас еще прекрасные волонтеры, прекрасные
We also
организаторы.
have fabulous
Всем большое спасибо
volunteers, hosts.
за то, что меня позвали тут вести.
Thank you for inviting me to host.
Увидимся в ближайшее время.